Um, Government really cannot fix the problem.
Of Africa without the diaspora. They have a lot to do. But most of them, they also have two things in mind. They said, we here, us, we have failed them, and the government have failed them. But mostly to us, somebody will borrow money from abroad, maybe from one jungle, one contribution house, or somewhere. They say, okay, let me give it to my people, or let me come and establish a business here. At the end, he will not even have the capital. But when we start to push stories that people have been living abroad and they are succeeding, okay, somebody can contact them or copy. Oh, how have you been doing this? Okay, let me also invest into this. Then let me use those techniques that you have been using to succeed.
I was saying, agriculture in Africa, or Sierra Leone particularly, has been dominated by, let me say, people in the rural areas.
Okay.
And these are our grandfathers, our grandmothers, you know. And for us, the youth coming up, probably we saw our grandparents do hard labor, agriculture. And that's something that's very unattractive to us. And they were not millionaires doing such activities. And for the youth now, they want something that they want to engage in something that gives them money.
Okay.
And because they haven't seen much example of agriculture making someone super rich, particularly in Sierra Leone, so agriculture is very unattractive to the youth. But it's good that we have people now trying to go after like other young people, somebody like you trying to go after success stories of young people in agriculture, or just people in general in agriculture that have some level of success, because by doing that, by exposing them and their stories, maybe that will inspire somebody out there. So agriculture really for me is the gold mine in Africa. There's so much potential in agriculture, so many opportunities there, and I think for us now, the younger people living now in this generation, we have so many tools at our fingertips that we can make use of to really transform agriculture into a business, unlike what our forefathers were doing. They were mainly doing it for subsistence, just to put food on the plates, put food on the table of their family. But we have so many resources available to us that we can use to transform agriculture into something that gives us money. So there's so many endless opportunities. So and probably as we're talking, you have some questions to throw in too, just to guide the conversation.
Because a lot of things that I've discovered here is that almost everything is being imported. I went to the present farm. I discovered that even the broilers' eggs are being imported. And first of all, what motivated me to start doing a lot of stuff like this, because I sat and I discovered that African, we don't have a brand on our own. And the most important thing, or the most easy way that we can be a brand as a people, is through agriculture. We cannot compete with the West into technology for now, into politics or industrialization for now. But I think what we are having at hand, which will be very easy for us to be a brand, is agriculture. When anytime somebody listens of Japan, you hear the talk of Suzuki, Toyota. Those are brands that those nations that build for themselves. When you listen of China, you can understand. You talk about India, you hear about medicine and whatever. But Europe, Germany, anytime somebody listens of Germany, oh, I need a car from Germany, blah blah blah, and all the like. America, we can name it. But Africa as a people, anytime you're abroad, when somebody is talking to you, you are from Africa, the first thing that comes to their mind, war, hunger, corruption. So, but And I discovered that when we start to talk about agriculture, most African youth, they're like, who has succeeded in agriculture? So I sat down and said, okay, let me go and be looking for success story to show people how people are making money from this particular sector that our forefathers used to sponsor us. Almost all the ministers, be it those abroad, somehow agriculture sponsored their success back in the days. But along the line, we missed the whole thing because people sometimes they look for fast money or they don't understand the tricks, and we're mostly into subsistence. But in the modern days, you discover that many people that are making it. So that's why I took upon myself and said, okay, let me be showcasing a lot of success stories so that people can copy. What somebody will see here, it may be somebody in another country, oh, this thing can make money. Let me go into it. Oh, this thing, if I go into this country, I can make money here. There was a documentary I did about one guy, it was just a short part. He was talking about breadfruit. And when I posted that video, somebody was like, I tested this thing, I've been looking for this thing, how can I have it? Then I have to connect them. I said he's going to it. Those are the type of stories we all like to share. So when I came across you, there are just few of you people you are doing fish farming here, and not much. But believe me, when people will see it out there, then they are going to copy. And mostly the diaspora, they have a lot to do. We cannot talk about the development of Africa without the diaspora. They have a lot to do. But most of them, they also have two things in mind. They said, we here, us, we have failed them, and the government have failed them. But mostly to us, somebody will borrow money from abroad, maybe from one jungle or one contribution house or somewhere. They say, okay, let me give it to my people, or let me come and establish a business here. At the end, he will not even have the capital. But when we start to push stories that people have been living abroad and they are succeeding, okay, somebody can contact them or copy. Oh, how have you been doing this? Okay, let me also invest into this. Then let me use those techniques that you have been using to succeed. I have somebody, he has been living in America for more than 10 years and his business has been doing well. He has never been here. So those are the types. So we need to show it out there so that somebody can copy.
Yeah.
So that is just my mission.
Okay, that's great. So like you rightly said, our forefathers used agriculture to sponsor their kids to go to school. Like I'm a typical example of that. Like my grandfather, he had a very big, well, it's still existing, but my grandfather has passed. But in his younger days, he established a cocoa and coffee farm. So he has a very large farm at the eastern part of Sierra Leone, and that's what he used to educate his kids. And my mom was his very first daughter, his first child. So we used that the proceeds from that farm to educate my mom, right? But the most unfortunate part of it is, my mom is only now that she's really trying to practice agriculture. She never, delved into the actual practice of agriculture, even though she did study agricultural extension. She's an agricultural extension expert, but then she later diverted into politics and to gender. So she's mainly into gender issues right now. And all of my grandfather's kids, most of them they're doing other things that have no relation to agriculture. So the coffee and the cocoa farm, has discontinued. It's almost non-existent right now because, as generation after generation, you see people neglecting agriculture. So, but for me, for some reason, I just grew the passion for it. And for me, I think the only way forward as a whole country, as a nation, or as a continent is agriculture, because we are so blessed. We are blessed with natural resources here. We are blessed with land. In Sierra Leone particularly, we have so much vast land that's been untapped. We have fertile soil here. We have 6 months of rains, 6 months of dry. That's a huge blessing. That's something that we can take advantage of. All right, so the potential is limitless. So the only way forward as a nation, for me, in my opinion, is through agriculture. Because as you rightly said, industrialization or technology, we're a bit behind as a nation on that one. But something that we can use to catch up with the rest of the world is agriculture.
Yeah.
You know, so it's high time us, the younger generation, because we are more energetic than our parents right now.
Yes.
So we have the zeal, the zest, the energy. We have time on our hands. We have more years to live. If we all come together and start seeing agriculture as a way of life, as a business,
Yeah.
I think we can use that to transform Sierra Leone. You know, there's a food crisis all over the world right now because of all the what's it called? What's happening in the world right now? Inflation, the Russia war here, and then we had COVID, we had Ebola. So there's food inflation all over. But we are particularly hit here in Africa by that. We're affected harder in Africa, all because we rely a lot on importation of particularly food stuff. You know, so imagine the thousands and thousands of dollars that we spend, or millions of dollars we spend every year to import food stuff. If we can mobilize that money and invest in agriculture in Sierra Leone, I'm sure we can move a step closer to being food sufficient in this country. Yeah.
And that is why I always tell most youth, because I have two people I have on target, African youth and the African in the diaspora. I said the problem we are having around the world, that we are being abused, is because we don't know that if we choose to feed the world will listen to us. Because the reason the West are doing what they are doing to us is because they know that they have nothing. When you look at the economic sanction that just happened to Russia never felt anything. Instead, the economy went up. So if we can start adding value here, then we are going to do it in a way that the world will respect us. But what is happening is that we rely mostly on raw materials, but we don't do processing or adding value here. And that's what we need to do. Because like the issue of cocoa, what Switzerland and France is having as a profit from cocoa processing is more than the entire money from the raw material of cocoa.
Mm-hmm.
So if we start to add value here in Africa, then our story is going to be something else. So this is where the diaspora are supposed to come in. They have traveled, they know what is happening, they have worked in most of the reputable companies, they know how to manipulate most of these things. So I believe if they can come in with some of this equipment, then it's going to help us. But let me ask, have you come in contact with the president and you have a talk with him concerning the feed salon stuff?
Not necessarily. I haven't come in contact with the president yet, but as a Sierra Leonean, I think we should all make an effort to follow the president's journey. He's mostly on national TV,
Yeah.
or on social media, showcasing what he and his government are doing in terms of the feed salon, which is his flagship program for his second term.
Okay.
So
because when I went there, a lot of people always complain, and this has always been my problem. I'm one of that person that I don't always blame the government fully, because first of all, when you see the president is at the forefront and he's doing something, this mindset we are having that it's about the government. First of all, I want to say here that all the government around the world, they have problems. There's no country you go and the citizen will tell you their government is okay. But if we can use this advantage and make money, it will be easy. It is easy for somebody to become a billionaire in Africa than a billionaire abroad. And that's why when you look at the top billionaires in Africa, somehow they're linked to agriculture. Be the Dangotes, also they have into agriculture, they're adding value. So I don't always, not that we cannot complain, but if we are complaining, what are we doing to change the narrative? Because like the issue, you see people always have, oh, we have been working, we don't receive no help from the government. I said it is sometimes it's difficult for the government to help individuals, but when you come in groups and you have statistics, and let me just say this.
In terms of government, my thoughts around that is 100%. It has to be a consolidated effort. All of us should come together, and try to pave the way forward for our country. So, but for me, government's role really should be creating the enabling environment. I don't think government's role is to give individuals money. No, like for instance, now creating an enabling environment wherein it's easy for you to establish a business.
Okay.
In Sierra Leone, an agricultural business. Probably government should find ways to increase the access of land, because if we're talking about agriculture, we're also talking about land, access to land. Another way government can intervene is increasing the access to finance, because for me, I think agriculture is a private sector game. Really, it's not a government game.
Okay.
Because it's private individuals really all around the world that are engaged in successful agriculture, not government. Government is not a business entity.
Okay.
Government should just create the enabling environment so that people with capital can come in and do something to change the narrative. All right. So if governments can increase the access to land, the access to finance, then I think a lot of people would start seeing agriculture attractive. Because now, as a young person now, if you want to go get a loan, probably you have this business idea to establish a farm, whatever farm it may be. Probably you don't have capital now. You go to the bank, you want to take a loan as a young person, probably you have no assets.
Okay.
How can you take that loan? So I think some of these are some of the issues that government can help intervene in to increase access to finance for people wishing to go into agriculture. And then another thing also is some people, they feel as if they need to be filthily rich to start somewhere. No. Agriculture, you can even start it at your backyard. Even the fish farming that we're doing. There are some people around Africa that have started it in their backyards, and today they are big time fish farmers. All right. So also people need to learn to start small. As long as you have the passion for it, you start small and then you expand. Even for us, that's what we did. We started at our house, and today we have 2 other locations, one at Onkolili and one at Moyamba district.
Okay.
So I think that's how we should.
But let me ask a question. What happened to our educational system if people want to have passion for agriculture? I think we need to start at the level of the primary, the kindergarten, to make agriculture compulsory. But what happened to our educational system that they are unable to provide such sector at the curriculum, and they have to leave it until after you must have completed university? Then they say, if you like, you have to go to a professional school. What happened to this? Well,
I think agriculture is still being taught in schools, from primary school to secondary school, even though after junior school, going to secondary school is not compulsory, but it's still being taught in schools. But I just think there needs to be more emphasis on it. And as I said earlier, agriculture is something practical. So I think schools should put more emphasis on the practical aspects of agriculture, to not only the theory. Like schools should put more emphasis on developing school gardens. Like even the fish farming that we are doing, it can be a very good project for schools to have their own fish ponds on the school grounds, so that the kids can see what it means to care for fish, what it means to care for livestock. And who knows, two or three of those kids might develop a deep interest and passion for that and say, oh, I want to become an aquaculturist when I grow up.
Yeah.
Because now you ask most kids, they say they want to become doctors, want to become lawyers. How many doctors and lawyers should we have in the country when we have other sectors that are suffering? No kid now, you ask them, wants to become an agriculturist because they haven't seen people become rich out of agriculture.
Yeah.
All right. So, but if we put more emphasis on agriculture in the schools, even from nursery school level, just introduce again school gardens. You know, because it's something fun and educative at the same time, and that might just inspire one or two kids to go into agriculture when they grow up.
And I believe this is not only solely about school, and our families back home, our parents are not doing enough when it comes to agriculture. And I will tell you why. When we were growing up, they always give us a small portion in our compound. Okay, this is your garden. You can put pineapples, you can put guavas, plantain, whatsoever. And our parents used to monitor, and they tell us, okay, this is what you are making a mistake here. This one will take this number of time. And so that aspect, we were gaining some knowledge about agriculture, and we started loving it. And if our parents can go back in those days to start giving each and every child a garden in their backyard that they should start cultivating something, and they're going to learn, it will improve this situation. Believe me, whether we like it or not, at a point, most of the people that they don't want to go into agriculture for now, at a point they will start like, oh, I have to go back into this particular sector. Somebody like you now that you are talking, it may be the past 20 years, somebody said something to you about this, you wouldn't have believed, but out of curiosity, you saw what is happening, you say, okay, I have to go into it.
Yeah, that's 100% true. If right from our homes we start if right from our homes we start instilling some of these things in our kids, you know, showing them we start from just backyard gardening. Some people might want to make the excuse, oh, but I don't have a backyard, whatever it is. But I don't know a Sierra Leonean house that doesn't have a veranda. You can even start from a pot.
Yes, we have modern days after they use tires, little pot.
Yes, there's so many things that you can do. You know, it shouldn't be everything now you go to the market for it. Something as simple as ginger, very low maintenance plant. You can plant it. It gives a nice ambience, a nice aroma around the house. You know, so every single time you need ginger, you just go and you harvest it from your pots, your plant pots. You know, and that would build the passion for your kids, because kids, they tend to identify with things that they grow up with. So them growing up, seeing some of these things around the household, they start developing the passion, the appetite for it, and because when they grow older, they're like, oh, I remember when we were little, when I was growing up in the house, my mom or my dad always, you know, were planting small vegetables around the house, and that's a practice probably I may want to adapt and pass down to my kids. So that's how you also develop the passion for agriculture from the home level. So yeah, it's very important.
You have to.